Let's make the best Jamaican beef patty, and make sure you stick around to the end as I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for making these patties super easy. So I'm going to start off by sauteing some onion and some garlic, and I'm going to let this go until it's fragrant. Then I'm going to bloom my spices in this oil. I have curry powder and I have some garlic powder as well as some allspice. Let them toast for about 30 seconds, always moving it until it's fragrant. This is 2 pounds of 85/15 ground beef, and I'm going to just let this cook for a few minutes before I put in salt and some white pepper. I am going to add a habanero, but if you have a Scotch bonnet, feel free to add it. Now this will not make it super spicy, so I would not omit this, and it gives it that nice Caribbean flavor as well as some green seasoning. I will link how I make mine in the eye, and this is some beef better than bouillon. This is optional, but guys, this better than bouillon just gives it a nice rich beefy flavor. Now you want to thicken up that gravy because we don't want it to be too loose and greasy in the meat pie. So a little bit of cornstarch and water will help get that gravy, and those spring onions are going to bring some freshness. We're going to set this aside to cool while we make our crust. Now into some flour, I put some salt and some sugar, curry and turmeric, and a little bit of baking powder. We're going to whisk this together, and we want that nice golden color in our pie. That's what the curry powder and the turmeric is for. This is some ice cold butter and butter flavor shortening. I like both of them together because I think it just gives the best taste, and I'm going to cut into this with my fork until it is crumbly. Now alternatively, you could use a food processor. If you think I'm doing a good job, go ahead and press subscribe because I post new recipes every week now, honey. Come on and join the family. I'm going to add 1 egg for that richness. Now, I know everyone doesn't do this, but, you know, try it in your crust and you're going to like it, honey. You're going to like it, okay? Now, this is some buttermilk, and I am just slowly incorporating this into my crust mixture. I really want to give you guys detail because I know a lot of you all struggle with that crust, and I'm helping you today, okay? When you add in your milk, you want to add it into those dry spots. You see how I'm purposely putting it right in that spot in the corner that doesn't have a lot of milk, and then I'm going to sort of fold it in from the sides. I'm using my hand and I'm picking up some of the flour that's left, and I'm just slowly working it in. Make sure you just aim that milk at those dry spots that are on the side, and this will help you to incorporate your crust correctly. Okay, you just want to knead it in. Now this process can take a little while. It took me probably about 10 minutes to get this right, and at this point most of it is together. As you can see, it has become less sticky, and I can just kind of work it with one hand, just kind of slowly getting the rest. Now you will know that your crust is ready when your crust is kind of elastic. Also, there isn't going to be any more flour left on the outside of the dough, and it's not going to stick to your hands anymore. Do you see how I can pull back from it and no stick? That's perfect. I am going to let this rest overnight because, guys, we've been working this crust. This gluten is locked and loaded, and if you were to make it right now, you're going to have a tough crust, honey. They're going to laugh at your meat pie like she thought she was doing something, but she won't do nothing, okay? So let that crust rest for at least an hour, but I like to let mine go overnight. Now this is the next day, and my crust is ready, and I'm going to just work with it in halves. I'm going to break it in half, and then I'm going to put the half that I'm not using back in the fridge to keep it cold, and then we're going to take this half and then split it again. Now, I know some people really like to roll out one big sheet of dough and then cut out those little circles, but I hate excess, guys, because when you re-roll those side pieces, it gets tough. So I instead prefer to pre-portion little balls, as you see here. Now, one tip for you is to, instead of using flour, is to roll out your dough with parchment paper, okay? I took a little bit of water, put it on my hands, and went over the parchment paper to make it flat. Now, one of the benefits of not using flour is that it makes less mess, and Also, it keeps your crust from becoming tough. Now, between those sheets of parchment paper, I'm just going to roll until I get a somewhat circular shape that is maybe about 1/8 of an inch thick, okay? And then all I have to do is peel off the top piece. I'm going to take a spoonful of that meat. Now, put a whole lot of meat in there, okay? Don't be skippy. This is your meat pie. You know how when you get it from the store, sometimes they don't be putting enough meat. Put a lot of meat in yours, honey, okay? And then you can just flip it over, and then I like to do a little tuck and pinch, you know, on the edges. You really can do whatever design you like, but I found when I do that little fork design, mine don't be looking good, okay? So I like to pinch and tuck. As you can see, once we pinch and tuck, this is what our meat pie is going to look like. I think that's very lovely, and I've just placed it on the side, and I put some ventilation holes in it with a fork. This is just so the steam can escape and our pie does not bust. Now beat an egg and go from the front to the back and the cootie crack with this egg wash, okay? Because this egg wash is going to keep your pies golden and lovely. And everyone loves that golden look, okay? Because we all know we like brown food up in here because it makes your food look nice. Not burnt, okay? If you burn your stuff, don't say I did it to you, okay? Put this in the oven at 375 for about 25 to 30 minutes until the top is golden and it just looks great like this. Now, I know y'all all want to see what it look like on the inside. So I'm going to break it out for you. Okay, I'm going to be your girl. Look at that. Look at that. And lovely, guys. Go ahead and subscribe for more recipes. And thank you for joining me today in Camira's Kitchen. Goodbye.